Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited for today's conversation. I am joined by Josh Lowery. He's the founder of Makeway, a creative digital agency known for crafting digital experiences that make a real impact. And what stood out to me about Josh is how Makeway blends brand, design, and custom development to build sites and platforms that don't just look great, but they perform. And it's not just talk. He has partnered with brands like Purina, Nestle, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Josh, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, let's start at the beginning. What does Makeway look like today in terms of services? Is that different than when you started? Have you had any major shifts over the years?
Well, in terms of what we look like today, we're definitely digital first. We're a digital focused agency. We have a full creative team. That's important to not just be the tech side or just be the creative side of things, but to make sure that we are really working together as a cohesive team under one brand to bring all sides to a project because they're both critical, components. We're digital first. We do a ton of digital solutions, which I will get into. We also have a full team where we do, naming, branding, identity design, brand strategy, consulting. In terms of if we look different today, not a ton, maybe. I think, the types of digital solutions that we're implementing and doing is starting to shift and changing. It's not like we're making streetwear or shoes or jackets. We're still pretty close to home in terms of where we started and where we are today, and just making sure we're evolving at the right pace with the industry and what our clients need.
Gotcha. So I see that Makeway really focuses on creating digital experiences that make an impact, right? So I'm
Yep.
wondering like how that really became a North Star for you and how do you define impact when talking with clients?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting timing. This is our 15th year as a company. And at the beginning of this year, we went through a rebrand. We've been through one before, maybe year eight or so. We were ready for a shift in terms of how we present ourselves, our capabilities and solutions that we're implementing. I guess it's not just about the implementation of them, but really the thought process behind it. So a big part of our rebrand, if you look at our logo, for instance, there's a lot of like navigational and nautical influence into our rebrand because we've really identified over the recent years that we're not just implementers of digital solutions. Clients come to us because there are an array of options out there, and sometimes they don't really know where to start, or like they think they might know and they're not really sure, and they need somebody who's done it before or has the right processes or tools to help them through that discovery process. That's a big part of our recent shift into what we've been working on and what we're looking to emphasize moving forward as part of the
Yeah.
work that we do. The second question, I forget the second part to your question. Do you want to maybe restate that one? I rambled too much.
That's an excellent point. I don't remember what the second part was. I think I was just talking about kind of
Oh,
when you speak into clients, how you define that impact. Yeah.
yeah, impact. So yeah, there's the obvious items of looking at conversion rates and sales growth. We certainly look at hard metrics like that. It's definitely more accessible to do that in a digital
Hmm.
environment because you can track so many things and it's real time and all those types of things. Beyond that impact, we choose the word impact because we want to be a purpose driven company and brand and work with other companies that are looking to do that as well too. And so like we all have limited time on this earth and we want to make sure that we're using that to like make our world better. We want to work on projects that are making a difference, are making somebody's life easier, are making us work smarter and better as human beings together in whatever capacity it is. So we look at impact not just for the client but also for our communities and society. How does it show up for our staff as we're putting and investing our time and energy into those types of things? So it's maybe it's intentionally a little bit vague there because we look at a lot of different versions of impact when we invest time and energy into projects with clients.
Yeah, I love that. It sounds like impact has become a way to build your culture inside the agency. How are we impacting the lives of our employees and your communities? I think that's pretty awesome. It sounds like you're at an inflection point doing a rebrand right now. Lots of agencies evolve from service provider into strategic partner for their clients. When you were talking earlier, it sounds like you're really doing a lot of that where you're helping your clients talk through what their goals are, how they want to achieve it. Is this the first time that that's happening? You mentioned a rebrand about 8 years ago, and I wonder if that might have been like the first shift, or is it something happening right now?
No, it's happened in different degrees.
Hmm.
To give you context, I have to go back a little bit. When I first started the company with my co-founder, Greg Cunningworth, our company name was We Make Nice Websites. And it was all around that service provider mindset. Like we wanted to just like wear our hearts on our sleeves, be really straightforward and transparent, and just like, this is what we will want to do. Like, we want to make nice websites for people. It was, kind of fun, and people, sort of made you like take a second look at the name and stuff like that. It was a little unconventional, I guess. I think it must have been 5 or 6 years. I forget exactly when it was, but we sort of identified and realized, okay, we had grown in our capabilities and our clientele and those types of things, and needed a way to sort of take that next step to, I don't know at the time that we would have called it strategic partner, but we were getting into that. And that's where we rebranded as Makeway and changed our name. Over the years, we internally use the term true partner with clients. That term partnership really does encapsulate a lot of the way that we approach the projects that we work on together, because we don't actually, like, even the word vendor sometimes kind of makes us cringe a little bit, because we
Yeah.
don't want to be seen as a vendor. Like, we want to be seen there as like, these are challenging things that we're going through with our clients, and we have the expertise to help them navigate the right way. So yeah, strategic partnership, like, we're definitely leaning into that, more. Maybe not even like leaning into it, but like embracing it, and being able to articulate that better to clients the first time that we meet them, to help them understand that, yeah, I mean, we're no longer like the newbies where we just make websites and that's all. Like, we bring a lot more to the process and the strategic approach together with them, initially for the project that might, start the conversation, but then beyond that as well too, to other areas that might, be within our realm of impact with them.
Nice. I have to say, I love that we make nice websites. That's an absolute home run. I could see it, especially in the beginnings of an agency. You're just starting to figure out who your potential clients are going to be, and I think being that kind of just transparent and open about, hey, we make nice websites. That's our passion. I would imagine helped you out back then a lot. And as you grew, it sounds like you've had a massive shift in becoming Makeway. That's exciting stuff. I love that. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, has there been one thing that has really been helpful, like a strategic hire, or it could be this positioning shift, or really embracing this positioning shift that you were just talking about, or maybe something else? Was there something over the last 18, 24 months that really helped us unlock something?
I would actually say so. I mean, yeah, I mean, to give a little bit of context for any listeners, like, we started the agency right out of college. It was really
Hmm.
this is back in 2010, where the job market just was not there. We were starting to come out of the recession, but there wasn't much there. We saw that as an opportunity. We're young and hungry for this, and we love what we've learned in school. How can we apply that in real life? We don't have MBAs. We never really have. Like, everything that we've done is very much like bootstrapped, and kind of comes out of that like hustle mindset and just wanting to work on our craft and protect our craft, one project at a time, and now one employee at a time, as we're working and growing the agency and those types of things. Pretty big pivotal moment for us was, we initially started in Rochester, New York, and thought about our clients on a local level. We then had an opportunity to open up another office in Columbus, Ohio. And I think that shift, not only did it like physically open us up to a new market in terms of networking and clientele, but it shifted our mindset in terms of what's possible and where we can apply our craft. It took us out of a smaller regional mindset and helped us think on a national and even international scale. Certainly, we couldn't have predicted COVID, but COVID was that type of thing. It took it to another level where we're no longer just looking to hire people in Rochester and Columbus. We can go fully remote and open up the world of possibilities and work in a new manner. Those are some of the first ones that come to mind in terms of pivotal moments. And hindsight's always 2020, but I think if those things had not happened, I think we probably would look, much different today as a
Yeah,
company.
that makes sense. Looking back at the opportunity to open an office in Columbus, expanding beyond your region was a goal. Did you think it would have that kind of impact where you're like, wow, now we're going to work, with national and international clients? Or was that something, do you think having that second office provided a mindset shift that opened you up for that?
I think we made that move with the intention of growth and the opportunity to open up another market. Columbus is, in addition to being a larger size city and region, it's a very large test market too. So there's a lot of headquartered brands there as well too.
Right.
Some of the context in terms of networking and agency partners that we work with, because we don't work just directly with clients. We also support other agency partners that don't have a digital team or things like that. So some relationships that we made literally in the first couple of weeks that we moved there, we still have today, and we are still actively working on projects. And that opened up possibilities and doors as an agency, provides you with greater challenges, not even just from a creative or technical side, but even in terms of like client management and process management and timeline management. How do we do, large brands are looking to move fast sometimes. And if you want that work, it kind of comes with, it comes with a degree of, you have to have a hustle mindset and be very solution oriented and those types of things too. So it kind of, raises that bar a little bit in terms of what you are expected to achieve, and you have to rise to meet it.
Yeah, I would say obviously you guys are doing some big dev projects, design projects. They come with a high level of expectation, but also a pretty high level of complexity, right? That they
Yeah.
can get pretty complex. Is there anything you've done recently that can just help you not only deliver for your clients, but also kind of protect your margins, right? Because we see scope creep happening a lot to agencies. Is there anything like what do you guys do to just make sure we're delivering everything that this client needs? Not only are we meeting their expectations, but we're exceeding them, but we're doing it in a way that's healthy for our business too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't ever run into scope creep, so we're pretty unique in that
Excellent.
manner. I'm joking.
I haven't heard anybody say that yet.
Whoever's listening, give up, go off top. That's always a concern. We're not here just to do volunteer work or just for fun. It
Sure.
is fun, but it is a business and these are people's livelihoods. So it's an important thing. I think so much of that comes down to communication and expectation setting. Regardless of the client or the industry, it comes back to the basics of making sure we have a process. We need to make sure that we, with like uphold that process, as an agency across all phases. And then just making sure that we have just really good communication, or asking not just like questions in general, but like the right questions up front to make sure that we fully understand, what are we getting into, where the areas of potential risk here always exist, but making sure we call those out with clients to say, hey, we're uncertain about how this place is going to go, or how this part is going to go, excuse me. So yeah, but at the end of the day, it's communication and, just setting expectations and making sure that you have a really good relationship. That's why partnership versus vendor, again, coming back to that, is so important, because you want to make sure that you're working together to achieve the same goal and have alignment in how we're going to get there.
Mhm. Almost every agency's got a story of something that went sideways. That's where you learn lessons, like the questions I need to ask up front. These are the expectations I need to set. Was there any project that gave you a lasting lesson and really changed the way that you set up boundaries today?
So the one that comes to mind isn't really on the client side, it's more on the freelancer or employee side. I was thinking about this before we jumped on. It really was such a pivotal moment. I'll try to give the short version that doesn't get me into trouble. We had an opportunity to work on a name brand. It was a great project. And in terms of what we were delivering for a digital experience, it was slightly outside our comfort zone. It was still within our capabilities, made us slightly uncomfortable because there was a couple of parts of it where it's like, we haven't really done that in a production
Yeah.
environment yet, that type of thing. But that's where we learn and grow, and we knew we had the capabilities to achieve it and to make sure that the work got done. Because we were also quite busy at the time too, we brought in a freelance developer to partner with us on the project. We were going to do some of it, they were going to do other pieces of it too, and it gave us the comfort that we needed, not even just from a resources standpoint, to make sure that we were hitting timelines and those types of things. For the technical parts of that project new to us in this environment, we'd have coverage. We worked several weeks, had communication, and things started to feel weird with the freelance developer. We had never met in person, done interviews, calls, or due diligence. It started to feel like this individual was giving us a little bit of a runaround for like their work that they were achieving and saying, hey, I'm making progress on this, but like I need a bit more time. The short version is we had a hard deadline and client presentation due on a Monday, and we were like the Monday, but like a week before, with like nothing really tangible to show, and all these promises of just like, I'm gonna get it. Got to a point where like, I don't really have like faith that you're actually gonna do this. Like you just keep on like pushing things back. And we ended up spending several days and a very long weekend working through the entire weekend. I rolled up my sleeves with my business partner Greg, locked ourselves in the office, and we said, all right, we're gonna get it done. Because we had this deadline, and you had like you last thing you want to do is show up to the meeting and be embarrassed, or like missed on the opportunity. So it was very tight. Like it was like hours before we were going to go present, we were still patching things up and getting it ready and those types of things. And then went to the meeting, everything went perfectly fine and smooth. Nobody knew any different. We were the only ones that knew on the behind the scenes kind of things, but we were sweating bullets. The rest of the project went smoothly. Like it ended up being a success. Portfolio piece, all those great things, great client relationship, like everything trended up after that point. It was a new type of technology we were getting into. It opened up a whole new category of work that we do for This one was based around like mostly touchscreen experiences and how they work together. We do a ton of touchscreen and interactive work, really complex stuff nowadays. And that was a big part of the initial steps in that project. We learned almost the hard way in that one, just to make sure that we
Mhm.
are internally like just having better expectation management, even within our own team, of saying, okay, timelines will, slip a little bit here and there and that kind of stuff, but we have to make sure that we have better communication. We should have done a better job in terms of just like making sure that we're checking in on progress work and seeing like actual progress work and those types of things sooner, and having some of those redundancies. So, I mean, all of us in the agency world are, no strangers to tight timelines and having to shift resources around and get creative with like how we're going to actually get things done for our clients. That comes with the territory. And luckily, that project, we went into hustle mode and got it done, ended up in a good spot, but it could have not done that, especially if we had just chosen, like, you know what, we messed this one up, and you take the F on that project. You get a choice in those moments, right? Are you going to roll up your sleeves and get it done, or take the F and, figure out things later on? Like, we'd probably still in business and all those good things, but I think that moment of personal and company growth definitely left a mark on us. We remember that, and also like camaraderie too between us as like teammates too. Like, you look back at it and you say, okay, we're not just doing a job here. Like, we really love and like we're passionate about this work, to the point where we're like, okay, we don't want to see anything fail or get, or be messed up, especially for clients that work so hard to fight for project budgets and really like need these things and that kind of stuff, and trust us with their, with, yeah, entrust us to partner with them and get those done. Like, we don't want to let them down.
That had to be the greatest Monday night of your life, right? You get in there, you deliver it, it goes off well. That had to be an awesome Monday night. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's so many incredible lessons in there. One you already mentioned, as far as just the communication and making sure we're staying on top of things. But I think you and Greg didn't give yourselves enough credit, maybe, right? Like, maybe there was a little bit of, this makes us a little uncomfortable, let's bring in somebody else. But when push came to shove, you guys were able to pull it off, and had those capabilities already. And I think you probably learned that during that as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really interesting point, because in this industry, there's so many new technologies, new systems, new tools. It changes so fast. Anybody who says, I've done it all before and I know exactly what I'm doing, is most often than not lying to some extent. Like,
Yeah.
it is, you've done versions of that before, things like it. You have the critical thinking to solve that problem. But I mean, like, I also just feel like if we weren't like intentionally trying, challenging ourselves with those opportunities that make us a little bit of uncomfort, like that growth comes from discomfort.
I have a picture on my desktop that is essentially, your comfort zone, and it's a circle, right? And it's like growth is all over here. It's all outside your comfort zone. If you're not getting uncomfortable, you're not growing.
The balance to strike right there is, right, like, how do I get growth but also not make my client uncomfortable, right? Like,
Correct.
I should be
Yes.
comfortable.
Yes, we're allowed to be uncomfortable, but not to show it. Can't show it at all. Things do change so fast in this industry. Anything digital is moving very quickly these days. Obviously, AI has become a big thing. Has that affected your agency? What do you see the next 12 months? What bets are you making for the future? What changes are you seeing?
AI is impacting everyone. We've got pieces on our blog and social media feed, and we just like released a video a little bit ago that kind of summarizes some of that. So I encourage everyone to check that out. AI is impacting us at all phases in terms of how we do our work, both from a creative and a technical standpoint, and the tools that we're integrating into our process and our workflows. Even just from an operations standpoint, we're just wrapping up a hiring round for a development position. Our hiring process, from the AI tools that we use to make their hiring decisions and those types of things, it affects us, at all phases. Even with client projects, the solutions we're bringing to clients in terms of how we can personalize experiences, how we can make experiences, smarter, or just like remove manual human oriented steps where it's appropriate. It's changing what we're offering to clients. Going back to our rebrand and our approach to helping them navigate that, everybody's looking at that and saying, where are the opportunities in this? Where is the noise, the things that are not worth my time or attention? That's just as important of a question. One of the capabilities we offer clients is helping them with those questions, and helping them, not just come up with a answer, but like, an answer founded in research in our discovery process and supported and pressure tested. So I think that has had a big impact in terms of where we're going next and things we have planned. That's one of the most exciting things about this line of business. It's frustrating and exciting that it changes so rapidly. It's like
Yeah.
You build a system, you build a process just to rebuild it 10 months later because everything changed
Oh, yeah.
again. It's also exciting to look at what technology and tools can do. The Figma announcement that just happened, a bunch of tools they rolled out at Config is another example of that. Our history and roots are in web design, but even in the way that we kind of grew our capabilities and services to, incorporate AR, VR, touchscreens, like other digital experiences into our service offerings, we're starting to do that again, basically through like even some products that we're working on that we want to release. I can't really share too much about them, but some of the things that we're working on, like we're working on different approaches to diversify like what we offer as a company. It's not just services; it can be tools that we're gonna release out as more of a
Nice.
product oriented approach. Anything with Web3 and blockchain, making sure that we look for opportunities to support clients adapting to like those types of technologies and integrating them where it's appropriate is, I mean, frankly, I think like we should be doing more in that space from a service offering standpoint. We want to engage and integrate without taking our eye off what we're also like, you know, known for, I guess, at this point with the clientele that we work with.
The core services. That sounds like you have really exciting stuff. I know the rebrand is coming. Some products are coming. You'll have to come back when these things are launched and we can talk through them. I appreciate you taking the time today, Josh. This has been an awesome conversation. Anything we didn't touch on, let us know where we can find you. You mentioned a video. I'll have everything in the show notes for everybody, but let us know, where can folks find you online?
Our website is a great launch point. You can find our social stuff there. We've got a blog, videos, and all sorts of things there. So it'd be great to check us out there. You can see a bunch of our portfolio and some of the projects that, are related to this discussion are certainly there. That's probably the best place. Any other closing notes? I love talking about this stuff. And I think anybody that's listening to this, like obviously they're interested in these topics and this industry. Some days you wake up and it feels really challenging trying to wrap your head around the next thing to solve. It is a constant set of problems that need solving, but it's rewarding as you solve them. When you can do that as a team, that's the best. I don't have big words of wisdom otherwise, other than
No,
just like keep hustling and keep going.
well, I will say you mentioned hustle more than once. And it's clear you've got that mentality. That's what it takes to get something off the ground, to go from 0 to 1. That takes a lot of hustle and grit. And you guys clearly have it.
Yeah, thank you. We feel that way. You always want to stay hungry, stay going after it, and measure yourself against what you were doing a year ago. And
That's
yeah,
great advice.
celebrate the good moments.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian.